Mystery of Santiago Flight 513 that disappeared in 1954. The puzzling event supposedly occurring between 1954 and 1989 with Santiago Flight 513 has been making rounds among the supernatural believers for decades now, and still, people are not sure what to think about it. A summary of the story for the uninitiated. According to an article published by tabloid Weekly World News in 1989, Santiago Airlines Flight 513 took off on September 4, 1954 from Aachen, West Germany, and was scheduled to arrive in Porto Alegre, Brazil 18 hours later. However, the aeroplane simply disappeared mid-flight over the Atlantic Ocean. At the time of the disappearance, authorities believed that the plane had crashed, and for the years to follow, multiple search parties were formed in order to look out for the remains of the passengers or the plane, but nothing was found. Time went by and decades passed. Santiago Airlines had already run out of business in 1956, just 2 years after the alleged disappearance. And after failing to find even a single trace of evidence of a plane crash, the search was called off. 3.5 decades later, on October 12, 1989, the Porto Alegre airport in Brazil spotted an unauthorized aircraft circling around the air base. The air traffic controllers tried contacting the pilot but got no response. Eventually, the plane came close to the runway and struck a perfect landing. It looked in a well-maintained shape and the engines were still up and running even after the plane touched base. Once the airport authorities approached the plane cautiously, they opened the doors from the outside and, what they say, chilled their bones to the core. They found 92 perfectly preserved skeletons of the people on board, 88 passengers and 4 crew members, safely buckled into their seats. When they opened the cockpit doors, they saw that the plane's pilot, Captain Miguel Victor Curie, also in a skeletal form, still had his hands on the controls. Fact-checking: is this story true? Broadly speaking, there are 3 reasons why the story is widely considered to be false. Reason 1, the ill reputation of the tabloid. Weekly World News was infamous for publishing fictional stories in their tabloid more often than not. 4 years before releasing the story on Flight 513, they had published yet another story of Pan Am Flight 914, which went missing for 37 years before reappearing and landing unscathed. Reason 2, the story seems familiar. The mysterious story of Santiago Flight 513 seems uncannily similar to an episode of 1961 show The Twilight Zone titled The Odyssey of Flight 33, in which the aircraft somehow, someway travels back in time to 1939. Reason 3, lack of evidence. No credible source of news from 1954 could be traced back to, in order to confirm that the flight did indeed vanish into thin air. All we have is the newspaper clipping from 1989 to believe.